Alright guys, today we're gonna have a look at a legend when it comes to sports cars in the, I would say, the last 50 years or something like that, because this is an icon when it comes to these type of driving fun cars, and it's of course the Honda S2000. So what I want to do, have a look at this car and see if we can redesign it into something that could be made today. And I think it's going to be a pretty straightforward redesign here, because this design to me, it's still timeless. When it came out, it was such a simple design, very elegant lines, nothing complex going on. And if we just change a couple of things on this, for example the graphics, maybe some lines in the side, put some line flow in there, I think it could be actually a car that could actually be built today. But before we do that, let's have a look at what the S2000 is. Let's talk about some of the spec and tech, how it came to life with the concept, and also the two AP1, AP2 differences between those two versions. So the Honda S2000 was in production from 1999 to 2009. It started life as the SSM concept, or the Honda Sport Study model, at the Tokyo Motor Show in 1995. The SSM was a rear-wheel drive roadster powered by a 2-liter inline 5-cylinder engine, and it was designed by none other than Pininfarina, and that's why it looks so great, and that's why it could still work today. Pininfarina, just geniuses when it comes to design. If you ask me, the SSM looks better than 90% of all the new sports cars that comes out today. Even a quarter of a century later, it was constructed with aluminum body panels and featured a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. This was a roadster that was built from scratch to be a roadster, an open-top sports car. And of course, when it comes to driving, the experience, it needs the closer you can get to 50-50 distribution, the more fun the car is going to be to drive, and that's what they were looking for here in the concept and also in the production version. The concept appeared in several auto shows for years after its introduction, hinting at a possible production version, which Honda announced in 1999. The production version was launched on April 15th, 1999 to celebrate the company's 50th anniversary, and the name comes from its engine displacement of 2 liters, carrying on the tradition of the beautiful little Honda S500, the S600, and the S800 roadsters from 1960s. Several revisions and facelifts were made through its life, including changes to the engine, gearbox, suspension, interior, and the exterior. Officially, 2 variants exist. The initial launch model was given the chassis code AP1, which is very similar cosmetically to the facelifted version known as the AP2. I'm gonna show you the differences when we jump into Photoshop, show you the subtle differences between the AP1 and the AP2, and you be the judge which one you prefer. The big changes to the AP2, however, happen under the skin, with significant changes made to the drivetrain and the suspension. Production of this S2000 closed down on August 19th, 2009. The S2000 was introduced in 1999 as the AP1 model, the first version that came out, and that featured a front mid-engine rear-wheel drive layout with power delivered by a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder VTEC engine. It produced a power output of 240 horsepower and 161 pound-feet of torque, all connected to a 6-speed manual gearbox. The recipe for success right there. It's very light, connected to a 6-speed manual, naturally aspirated roadster. Perfect recipe for a great driver's car. Then the AP2 version came out in 2004 and saw several significant changes, some of which included larger wheels. We now went from 16-inch to 17-inch, along with a retuned suspension to reduce oversteer. So it was 2 oversteer with the AP1, which to me sounds pretty like a fun car, but I guess they wanted to just dial it back a little bit with the AP2, with some changes to the suspension there. In addition, cosmetic changes were made to the exterior with new front and rear bumpers, revised headlights and taillights design, and new oval exhaust pipes. The Honda S2000 was known for its exceptional specific power output of about 124 horsepower per liter, or about 2 horsepower per cubic inch, which is the highest of any mass production naturally aspirated engine car. It also featured an innovative X-bone frame, which Honda claimed improved the vehicle's stiffness and collision safety. Now I want to jump into Photoshop and show you the differences here between the AP1 and the AP2, both in the front and the rear. There are some subtle differences, but you can clearly tell them apart if you just know what to look for. And once we're done with this, we're gonna of course jump into the redesign of this Honda S2000. So up here we have the AP1, down below we have the AP2. Obviously, some of the minor changes here you can see is we got a little more sharpness this in the AP2. We got this beautiful sharp line right here that then goes into this side graphics right here, and also had a little bit more sharpness in the rear end there, which I'm going to show you in the rear view. The wheels, for example, you have 16-inch stock wheels here, and we have 17-inch right here on the AP2. And in addition to that, you can see that the housing for the headlights, for example, we have a little simpler graphics in the AP1 compared to the AP2, which gets a little more complex, I would say, with this orange piece right here, and then you have a separate orange indicator right there. Instead of having this big orange piece right here, we now have it be separated with a single light bulb or whatever that is down here. If you look at the front intakes, also changes from the AP1. Look at this piece right here, compare it to the AP2, which now has these removed, no side air intakes. I guess that's probably the easiest way to tell these two apart, just from a straight front view. If it has some lower corner intakes, then it's the AP1. If those are removed, then you're looking at the AP2. You also have some wings here, which I kind of like. These look pretty clean. It looks a little more stylized in the front end, but also very clean and functional. Very good facelift, in my opinion. So let's have a look quickly at the rear view here. AP1 at the top again, and you have the AP2 at the bottom. The easiest way I would say to differentiate these two is look at the tailpipe. So the AP1, as you can see, we have very circular, perfect circle tailpipes. Looking at the AP2 right here, from this angle, these also look circular, but they are in fact ovals. So instead of having completely circular on the AP1, if you know you're looking at an AP2, if you just have looking at the tailpipes and they're being oval. And of course, you can now see the difference here between the wheel sizes a little better, 17 right here and 16 inches right here on the AP1. The graphics and the details in the unit, in the tail lights, is also kind of same treatment like we have in the front end. You can see that we now have a distinct, I think this is the reverse light right there, which I'm not sure where the reverse light is here. Probably this piece right here, these two big lights right here, but it kind of separated the lights more in the AP2, and it also got a little clearer here. Maybe some interaction, some LEDs or something like that, I'm not sure. And of course, as I said in the front view here, what I like about the AP2 is that we have this line that goes from the front into the side, and now also comes back here in the rear, which it doesn't really do in the AP1. There's a subtle little crease right here. I don't know, you can barely see it, but it's there. It's a line right here, which then continues into this line right here on the side, but it doesn't really continue in the front. But here on the AP2, they added this in the front end right here. Let's remove this. They added this crease right here, which doesn't exist here on the AP1, and then that goes into this line, which now also goes into this bumper. Clearly, more clear, a lot clearer than it does on the AP1 right here. So if I look at the graphics, if I look at the, for example, the headlight assembly and the taillight assembly, I prefer the AP1 because I think it looks cleaner than the AP2 down here. Same goes for the taillight assembly. I think this is a lot cleaner and simpler design than this down here. But if I look at the bodywork, I prefer the AP2. So if I could have the taillight and the headlights from the AP1 in the AP2's body, that to me would be the perfect S2000. I also prefer these 17-inch wheels over the 16-inch. 16 looks a little too small, even though it is back in the day 2000. That was kind of the standard size for a sports car like this. But I think 17 just suits the S2000 better. Maybe even 18s would be look really good on the S2000 as well. Now, before we jump into the redesign, go to TheSketchMonkey and have a look at the brand new t-shirts that we have. This, for example, is the white E30. In addition to, I think there is a black version. I know there is a black version. I think we have the black and the white up there now as well, and a couple of Mustangs, and also these hats. Go and get some if you're interested in that. With that said, let's jump into the redesign here, and let's see how this redesign is going to turn out. So the Honda S2000 to me is definitely one of my favorite driver's cars out there. It's one of these cars that, if I think about it, it could be redesigned today, but with some very, very minor changes. If you think about the design of the S2000 and compare it to what's been in between when S2000 came out in 2000, then we go into 2005, we have some melted cheese going on, still some lingering from the 90s melted cheese stuff. Then we go into the 2010s, and a lot of overstyling going on. We have lines just on top of lines creases going into each other. But now, as we've seen, as I've talked about so many times here on this channel, is now we're starting to dial it back. Just look at the new Honda Civic as a fantastic example of this. The previous Honda Civic Type R, just, I don't know how many lines you can put on a car, but they definitely stretched that challenge with the Honda Civic Type R by adding lines on top of lines, intake, lines that don't connect with each other, creases that don't really fit specifically in the rear. It's just a mess looking at the old Honda Civic Type R. And now they came out with the new Honda Civic, the regular Civic and the SI. The Type R has not been revealed yet. I'm really looking forward to that, by the way. But comparing this Civic that just came out with the old Civic, it's like night and day. It's totally different approaches to the design. And it becomes clear across the entire automotive industry when you just think about it. Because, as I said before as well, companies reached a point where we just can't add more styling to the cars. It doesn't make sense. We can't keep adding lines on top of lines on top of lines, creases, curvatures and stuff like this, crashing into each other. It's not gonna work. So what that does is it dilutes the brand identity. Everything becomes a mess. So I think what companies and designers are really starting to figure out now is that if we want to have a clear brand identity, what we need to focus on is very, very simple. Let's focus on the proportions of our brand. What type of proportions do we want for our type of company? And let's try to keep that across the lineup, even though some cars are going to be SUVs, crossovers, 95% if we're honest, and some are going to be sedans, sports cars, whatever. But let's try to have some sort of continuation in the proportions. I think Genesis is doing this really well right now across the lineup. You can definitely immediately see a Genesis and you instantly recognize this as a Genesis. This is something that they've just been working on the last 5 years or so, doing a really fantastic job in my opinion. So the first thing that companies are focusing on right now, as I said, proportions. The second thing that they're focusing on is graphics. Proportions and graphics, simple graphics that really hammers in the DNA of the brand. That's what companies seems to be focusing on right now, and I think that's such a better approach than having this overstyled I'm so glad that the overstyled decade is over by now and we go back to this simple design. And I really like the new Honda Civic. I think it's a beautiful looking little sedan. I made a video on that talking about it on my second channel if you want to go and check that out. Second channel is called Bembly. And by the way, I've almost forgot to tell you, I have a brand new third channel that I just launched, and I think I'm gonna link it down in the description or up here in the corner or both, I don't know, but it's going to be linked in the description here. And that's going to be more of an vlog channel, I guess. It's going to be not really sure yet. It's just a channel that I want to upload truck stuff, what I do to the truck. I'm just gonna order some new wheels and tires and suspension for the truck, stuff like that. Just fun stuff outside that I did with the Tesla. If you watch my second channel, videos like that, go and subscribe to that channel. It would really mean a lot to me if you want to follow along on that journey. The move to Colorado to do some do overlanding stuff, not outlanding hopefully, but overlanding stuff. Anyway, back to the Honda, but go subscribe to the third channel. It would really mean a lot to me if you do that, and comment on my first video there. Let me know what you think about the plans for the truck that I just uploaded on that channel. Anyway, back to the Honda here. So what I think about the S2000 is the S2000 that came out in 2000, as I said in the beginning of the video, I really think that it could easily be a car that came out today, because it almost it has the same kind of design language as the new Honda Civic. It just skipped a couple of generations of the Civic, then it came back, did a full loop. Honda did a full loop, came back to the same kind of simple, elegant, beautiful, timeless design that we have in the new Civic, and that suits the Honda S2000 from the year 2000. So adding some Civic styling on the graphics here on the Honda S2000, I think that's gonna just work really well on this redesign here and creates a little more line flow, maybe a little sharper shoulder that then goes in to the headlights, and then you have the creases on the hood, in the front hood, going into these wings that are down in the air intakes down there. So we have a line going from the air intake up all over the hood into the shoulder and up into the A-pillar as well. And same thing with the line that we talked about on the AP2, going from the front little crease there in the bumper, in the corner of the bumper, going into the side. I want to create more of an angle on that line right there. It creates more of a forward motion and more of an arrow if you look at it from a side view, and then have that line be connected to some sharp line right there in the rear bumper. So we have the same line. The only difference is from the AP2 right here is that it goes a little higher up on the side and then into another crease a bit higher up on the rear bumper, if that makes sense. But very fun to make this redesign. I really enjoyed it. I made a redesign of the S2000 maybe 2 years ago here on the channel, but that was a sketch from scratch. I didn't use any back image or something like that, so you can go check that out. My first attempt in redesigning the S2000 right here on the channel. And that's about it for this channel. Don't forget to go and subscribe to my third channel. I'm gonna link it down below in the description, and we'll see you in the next video.